Much, Mr. Chairman, and let me just note that I think your testimony today is a reason for optimism, and we've actually had the government do some things that seem to be bearing fruit now, so that's great. But the trouble that is, and I will just have to say, whenever Ronald Reagan used to say, and I'm wearing Reagan Brown today, by the way, Reagan, you say that a government program is the next best thing to eternal life on this planet. And Dr. Eglash, I'm sorry, but at some point, we've got to say the private sector can do this. And I certainly buy on to the evidence that we've heard today that we have made great advances so that we now know there are billionaires in the private sector who can put money into this and make it real. The idea that you did suggest, however, which I thought was important, was there are government policies, now that it is real, now that it can be commercialized, that we need to make sure that the government policies of how to get onto the grid, and in fact, there's big debates here over the years as to whether or not the electric companies should be forced to take electricity when it's being produced by a private sector, and thus we would be able to give incentives for even more solar energy production of electricity. I've always thought that was a fairly good idea myself. I'd like to ask you guys about, and I say all of you, I have heard that there's a major technology breakthrough in batteries. And I understand that there's been a lot of money put into it and various approaches, but that at the university, Mr. Chairman, your university down in Austin, Texas, I understand, has had a breakthrough with the fellow in charge of I think he was the inventor of the lithium battery, Dr. Goodenough. Now, he says, and what I understand, is that now they're capable of producing a type of battery that would be based on sodium rather than lithium. Have you heard about that? And if you have, does that have promise, or is there something wrong? Is this just being hyped? Maybe a little bit from each one of you on that.
Sure. So the Department of Energy, we fund research on batteries for a wide variety of batteries. That we do not want to put all our eggs in one basket when it comes to battery technologies because of the value of energy storage, both for automobile applications, which is one of the areas where we fund research, and the Office of Electricity funds research for grid scale storage. So we fund a large number. I have heard about this technology.
You don't have any?
I don't know any specifics, but yes. there is great opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, Professor Goodenough, I mean, as you said, godfather of lithium. So right. the technology you're describing, I think, is very exciting. It also depends on batteries and what applications are using batteries. It's the design of batteries very different if you go into automotive or if you go, for example,
have you heard of anything about sodium?
Yeah, so I saw his article.
Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I think it's thumbs up. So the key is there's an energy density thing we have to still work on.
Okay.
But overall, I think it's very encouraging.
Okay, thumbs up or thumbs down on Goodenough sodium battery?
I wanted to put it in the broader context, echoing what some of the previous witnesses have said. The improvement in battery technology is dramatic and continuous, and it's going to help storage for electricity on the grid as well as automobiles.
That's clear. Now, what about this sodium breakthrough?
Very promising.
So you give it a thumbs up as well.
I'd give it a thumbs up as well. It's always new breakthroughs are wonderful to hear about. The one thing I'll just highlight is that battery and storage technology, I think, is an example of something that the private sector already has an enormous incentive to already do this. So I think that's one area that we can think about backing off federal funds.
So you give it a thumbs up. So we got 3 thumbs up and 1 not so sure, but maybe. And let's just note again, and I agree with the last witness who said, somebody put a lot of money into that research, and I know that it's a little basic and applied. I understand your point there, but definitely the basic research has been done, and it seems to me that we should be applauding anybody who invests in things like Dr. Goodenough's new sodium battery. So, and we should, Mr. Chairman, I would hope our job is to see what we can to goose the private sector into investing in it and to actually commercializing some of these breakthroughs like Dr. Goodenough has done at the University of Austin in Texas. Thank you.
Well, I'm not sure the right word is goose the private sector in this setting. Maybe it's charge the private sector with getting that done. Maybe that's a better word.